Hello, it's Rich Herb again. Today's topic is how do I start giving to my church? Interesting question. I like to approach this using a common metaphor that we use in our local body here at Gospel Baptist, that of the head, heart, and heels concept. So, what is this head, heart, and heels concept if you're not familiar with it? Well, it's a process, it's part of the human system God designed into every one of us to work things through to get things done. It's the way we look at it, and you'll understand as I go through this. It starts with the head. Everything begins with a thought. We hear something, we think something, we learn something, the Holy Spirit impresses something in our mind. It's plain facts that we hear getting into our minds. This idea that we have now begins the process of review. We ponder what it means, we think about it, we wonder what it means to us personally. If I do believe this and do this idea, how might it change my life? We think of a dozen questions around this one idea. This part of the process we call the heart, because it's at this stage a sterile idea turns into a belief or a feeling. We are emotionally attached, hook, line, and sinker. Oftentimes, this is where the process breaks down. We have to ponder the ideas, let it percolate, inspire us, or at the very least, make the decision to act out of sheer obedience. And sometimes we don't do that. We just let it go by the wayside. This is what we call the heel step, where you have to take that idea, those facts, understand it, decide to do it, ponder it in your heart, understand it, and then move out and do something about it. So let's apply this process to how one might start giving to the church. It begins with us hearing from the Bible through a teacher or a pastor, from reading some of the verses ourselves that God has given us. 100% of what we have. Think about that for a moment. 100% of what we have is God's given to us. And because we love him, we give back to him a portion of what he gave us, because that's what he tells us to do in his word. I don't have time to give all the Bible references here, but you can contact one of the pastor staff and we'll get you the references if you'd like to read them. Now, when we first hear this, our humanity says, no, wait a minute. I was the one going to work. I earned the paycheck. It's all mine. How is God involved in that? Well, think about that for a moment. God allowed you to wake up that day. He gave you the strength, the health, provided the job. So you do have to give him credit here. Now our thoughts turn to, I can barely pay all my bills now. How in the world could I give God back some of that money? This is the part of the heart process, again, where we're thinking deeply on this, trying to analyze it from all angles. We feel the emotions of fear, maybe greed, guilt, all swirling around in our head. We investigate further in the Bible, looking for verses about our dilemma. We may talk to our discipler and ask them questions. And I think there's probably some part of the discipling material we use that talks about this. Sometimes it boils down just to faith and trust, though, and pure obedience. We must make a conscious choice to give and put it in the Lord's hands. So then the heels part kicks in. We get out our checkbook, shakily write that first check to our church. We start with a small amount on a regular basis and increase it as the Lord blesses our faith and our trust increases. Now, I have one additional tip to give you. This coronavirus has blessed us. Yes, I said blessed. There are opportunities within each crisis. Most of us will be getting a check from the government for $1,200 per adult and $500 per child. What a perfect opportunity to start using this to give to your local body to advance God's work. Now, for those of you already giving faithfully, this $1,200 is an increase on which you can tithe. Just for kicks and grins, I hate using that word, but that's the best I could think of. When you get your check and you do tithe it, write on the envelope how much of that tithe and offering that you're giving was from the government check. And we can total that up anonymously and report back to you the total. I think that would be very interesting and great uplifting of our faith to find out that total. Thank you.